2021 US National League. At the receivers end, representing the New York Racket and Tennis Club, we have Barney Tanfield and James Stout. At the service end, representing the Racket Club of Chicago, Connor Medlow and Josh Dodgson. First to 8 games, 1 deuce scoring, except for at 7-all, where we play out full deuce. You may switch receivers if you are down by 3 games.
At any time.
Down by 3 games.
Anytime you're down by 3 games, not just winners, just 3.
Right. And, three or more games.
Any timeouts?
No timeouts, but coaching is allowed.
Can you coach us?
I cannot.
Tennis Racket Club, Boston, Massachusetts. The 2021 National League, new format this year. All matches played over 5 days. All of the teams present. This is a switch up from the traditional lineup of singles, singles, doubles. Doing, ooh, there we go. Down he goes.
15-0.
Singles, singles, doubles. We're doing number 2 singles, then the dubs, and then number 1 singles. I was trying to just guess why the change in this. Down the middle, almost solved that riddle. Come on. Little lefty change up there. Interesting.
Better than 2. 15-0.
Maybe not lined up for that shot. Whew.
30-15.
Big boast. Connor Medlow going across town there. Almost took one in the grapefruit.
He's made a couple of those runs so far.
Maybe he's been watching Cam and Tim play doubles. The whirling dervish, I like to call it. You never know who is going to be standing where.
40-15 to the servers.
Not too many guys play the forehand corner on the service side at the door.
Well, especially not against guys like Barney and James, who can, they can really hit that ball. You don't want to be standing right up there when they're lining up. But
no shrinking violets on this New York team.
No.
30-40.
But Connor's started well here. I was speaking with him yesterday, and this is, he said this is his first, real proper test on court for the past 14 months. He hasn't been getting out there a whole bunch, playing a lot of rackets, but he's kind of he's coming in, perhaps not quite knowing what he's going to be able to do, but it was a pretty strong start so far.
Now you were mentioning before we started that Connor and Josh came up together, both having learned at Seacourt and played there. That's the I feel like that's the English dynasty of late. All the Seacourt pros, including our own Tony Hollins.
Yeah, over the years they've had a whole host of pros. Yeah, Tony, Connor, Josh.
Is that where Leon also?
No, Leon's from Essex, like myself.
Oh, okay.
But
did he learn it at Preston or no?
No, I think he was studying at Middlesex University, I believe, and they've obviously got the court there, so he picked it up. I think he picked it up there.
Good.
He was certainly over in the US on a normal lawn tennis scholarship beforehand.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
But But yeah, there's even, going back a little further, Andy Lyons came from C Court, Rich Smith, who I'm sure some of the viewers here will know, came from C Court. So yeah, they have a really strong junior program there. But yeah, these guys, we were just saying they haven't played a lot of doubles together, I'd say, in the last few years. But certainly, coming up through the ranks, these two would have won the British Open under 12s, under 14s, under 16s. So yeah, they've spent some time on court together.
15 up.
Maybe looking a little rusty with the communication so far, but
They look like they're having a good time, though, and that...
Oof.
Ho, 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 ho.
I'll enjoy that one.
15-0.
In the face.
Oh.
Ken Fortin, your commentator here with special guest Adrian Kemp.
It's a great ball.
So Adrian, you we were talking about your start out at Prested. You also worked in France for a little while. Is that right?
Yeah, I was out there for 5 or 6 years before I came across to New York. And yeah, we were just talking about the differences with the court there and the club. Obviously there's a great history out there in France.
Yep.
Unfortunately, most of it was several hundred years ago.
Yep. And
the recent history not quite as glorious, but there's still a couple of busy courts out there. And
yep. Were you in Bordeaux?
I was in Paris.
Paris.
Yeah. So.
Right. Were you there with Rob McDonough, or did he come after you?
He, a bit of both. He came.
Oh, that's a good get.
Yeah, he came after me, and then there was a period of time where I left, he left, I came back, he came back as well. So it was there was a lot of movement.
That is a very interesting court. I was able to play 2 summers ago, and Rod was explaining to me this odd business arrangement there with that concierge who ran the bar and ran the sort of the pro shop, as it were, all the clothing and everything, and how the concierge, that's a feature of these Parisian buildings and apartment buildings, and like the law favors the concierge very strongly, and it's like impossible to unseat the concierge. It's like, God, it's so fascinating to an American who just has no concept of this. I mean, I guess we have a super, but like doesn't seem to have the same strength as that French concept.
No, I mean I think certainly a lot of the buildings in Paris have residential buildings have a concierge who takes your mail and will occasionally give it to you. There's not much of a service provided, but they kind of live in the building rent free.
Yes.
Yeah, the club was a little bit of a different situation. There was a family living on I guess it was probably the 6th floor. The father was a squash coach, and the mother kind of ran the bar, like you said, ran the clothing sales. But yeah, there was nice family. But you're right, like you can't kind of say, you know what, we want to do something else and get someone else in. Once someone's living in a place, you can't get rid of them. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting club, interesting court. You mentioned that just trying to figure out the different markings on the court is pretty challenging for someone who goes across there for the first time. They have, rather than having chases 1 to 6 like we do in the UK and in the US, the French, they use what they call French feet, which I didn't know existed.
14 inches or something.
14
like that,
inches,
right?
yeah. So they go up to, you can set a chase 14 is the biggest chase before you start getting to last gallery. So it's, it's not quite as good for the ego. Setting a chase worse than 1 here is kind of the equivalent of setting like a chase 5 there. So you hit a great shot in Paris, and it comes down for a chase 5. It doesn't sound quite as good as worse than 1. You don't get that
Correct.
Don't get the same enjoyment from him. But
it's almost like metric chases.
It is.
Although actually it's even more antiquated than the British system, which still I think the Brits have somewhat abandoned that system, certainly more than in the U.S. We tried converting to metric in the 70s. It was roundly rejected by almost all of America. So now it's just, every workman has to have 2 sets of tools here, because you never know whether you're working with the imperial measurements or metric.
Well, I quite like the map. You occasionally kind of see someone will put on the internet somewhere of, all the countries that use the metric and all the countries that don't. And it's basically just a map of the US.
Right.
But
even the date standard, we put the month first.
Yeah, I never got that. It's confusing.
Again, it's a completely it's a completely American thing. I think everywhere else on Earth, even time, the 24-hour clock versus the 12-hour clock, it seems kind of quaint. Almost like
well, you guys didn't mess too much with the court tennis scoring system.
No.
30-40.
No, we followed right along on that.
Looks like New York's off to a pretty strong start here.
Yep. Chicago's looking to get on the board. 40-30. Let's see what.
Josh kind of looks a little bit even more of an interloper than normal, wearing his Philadelphia shirt.
Well, I don't think it would be too much to say that he's undergoing an identity crisis at this point. He seems to be. He plays for all the teams.
I can't comment on this. So Josh kind of recently moved from Tuxedo to the Racket and Tennis Club. But obviously with the pandemic, everything like that, he's back living in New Jersey for the moment. So he kind of has a daily commute in, drives into the city, which which he doesn't mind doing. He was doing the reverse commute previously, but I think definitely, I feel like he probably gets a little bit more practice in New York. It's been good for his game. Having Tim around in Tuxedo is obviously great. Those guys are so busy with so many different sports that I think it's kind of difficult for him to really focus on just his court tennis. Obviously in New York there's Barney, there's James, myself, Neil Smith's there. There's some great amateur players as well. Peter Cipriano, Ben Stein. So there's a lot of good practice to be had there. So it looks like this week so far he's had a couple of great singles results. I think he's definitely looking to kind of push on and make that next step.
Yep. I was surprised to find that Leon Smart used to work here, and when I think he met his wife here in Boston, and of course he went on to work under Tim at the Tuxedo Club, and I saw that just like Tim, he bought a house in New Jersey, and I saw that he's in Westwood. I said, "Oh my gosh, that is a town right next to where my in-laws were and where my wife grew up." And I found out where he lived and I looked at it on the map, and I saw it is literally right around the corner from where my wife grew up.
Oh wow!
I thought that was hilarious. It's a nice little spot. New Jersey, because it's the most densely populated state in the United States.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, it has the just the population to support an incredible amount of business, even small business. In the county where he and my wife lived, there are 4 absolutely gigantic shopping malls, and despite this, every little town around there still has a thriving town center with dress shops and a stationery store. Like, how many stationery stores are left in the United States now that you have Office Max and Staples and
maybe New
Walmart
Jerseyans you guys maybe are just big letter writers.
it's I think it's just the people enjoy supporting local business there, and kudos to them.
Well, I'm sure Leon's patronizing his local stationery store.
I hope so. He seems like a literate type.
Well, he's got the we were chatting in the break about Connor's new fresh-faced look. He was sporting a big beard for the past couple of years, which is gone. But Leon's been growing it out.
Yeah, he's starting to get into doomsday prepper territory pretty soon. I think.
I mean, I was going to say he looks like a 17th century like German philosopher, but I don't know if that was the look he was going for, but. I feel like there's been a lot of lockdown facial hair.
Oh yeah, I myself have a 6-week beard going now.
I like that.
I think this is the longest I've ever let this go. It's just nice not to have to shave every day.
I think the other guy who is looking fresh-faced up here, Josh, he was sporting a mustache for the past year, which I think we're all pretty happy he got rid of. It was, it wasn't a good look for him. But I think eventually his girlfriend Kat sort of made him pull the trigger and get rid of it.
Good. Well, Ted Ganaeus says hello to both of us. Hello, Ted.
Speaking of facial hair.
Yep.
It's always a strong look.
Ted has a good thick beard when he's bearded. I've seen him both ways.
I think it's those Greek genes.
I think it might be.
Yeah, Ted did a great job. With his sponsorship program, Lot 12, which has put a lot of money into not only this pro event, but the US Open, US Pro, and there's a bunch of very generous supporters, which from across the clubs in the country who've put money, which kind of boosts up these pro events. USCTA over the past 5 years or so has done a good job in raising more funds. And Ted put together a program which I think probably began maybe in the 2017 annual dinner, but he organizes this program, which is a massive help for the pros. Really makes a big difference to the prize fund for these kind of events, and it means that everyone's here, everyone's left their job for the week, and financially it's worth it. I think that's been the problem for a lot of our events over the past few decades, to be honest, is often coming and playing one of these events, it's you make a financial sacrifice, and so there's been a lot of great guys involved in the USCTA, Jeremy Winstein, Jim Zug as well, who've kind of really helped on that front.
Jeremy in particular with the national sponsorship program, which is
first gallery.
lent some particular support for this event, along with some of the Lot 12 funds. Ooh. Almost a decapitation right there, friends. Oh, look at that. Look at the hands.
Yeah, it's, these guys all have good hands out here.
Barney's in rough shape there.
Yeah, we just sort of sensed he was just starting to hobble at the end of that singles game.
He's banged up something.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, they've got a pretty decent lead, so you'd hope they can kind of hang on. But yeah, it's not looking good for him at the moment.
Lots of close games here, but New York's been closing it out. Guess Barney's taking his revenge.
Yeah.
It helps to have James Stout as your partner.
Well, I was going to say, James is used to, he's been playing a lot of doubles with myself, so he's used to, taking on the burden of the team and doing all the work. So hopefully this shouldn't be too much of a strange situation for him. I think this is how he plays a lot of his rackets doubles as well. Certainly when he's playing with, guys like Peter Cipriano, who I know is watching the stream. There's a little bit of a 2-on-1 kind of element to it. So James isn't going to be phased here. I just hope Barney kind of is able to pull through and stick it out.
Yep. I noted earlier we had viewers from the UK and from France. I'd be very interested to know if we have any Australians who are watching.
Advantage, servers.
God only knows what time it is there. It's maybe 6 in the morning, 12-hour difference. Who knows?
Might well be.
Who knows? If anybody clue us into time zones, that would be great.
I think they've been getting some.
Mr. Grill there.
I think they've been getting their fair share of competitive action over there in the past few months, which
they
is great
certainly
for them.
weathered COVID a lot differently than a lot of the rest of the world. They've basically sealed themselves off, from what I gather.
Yeah.
15 left.
Yeah, James
James
really being aggressive with this return now. New York's not looking to get into any long rallies with Barney kind of clearly struggling down the other end.
All these lefties, if they can turn on that serve, they'll just tuck themselves into that little corner, almost in a way that, I think, how do they get in there and then actually swing the racket? But no trouble at all.
I think sometimes there's a little breathing in going on. That especially when they're doing it off that railroad, it's sort of almost whipping it off their, whipping it off their knees.
Yep.
But you're right. They're, all these guys, James, Steve, I saw yesterday in the doubles was hitting some bombs. Camden, Connor himself here. If you let them take that full swing on the forehand, it's. It's going to be nasty.
Yep. Nick Jones says hello to both of us. Hello, Nick. How are you doing? Fantastic.
Yeah, I think Nick Jones is the go-to guy for court building now. Yeah, he seems to be involved in all these projects. Really good guy. Gives up a lot of his time. I remember staying at his house in Seacourt a couple of times. During they used to hold the silver racket there, and always a fun time.
Seacourt sounds like I've not been myself, but it sounds like a really nice facility.
Well, I tell you what it is. It's basically it's a sports club. They've got the real tennis, but it's basically in a pub. Out the back where we're sitting now, this kind of behind the dead-on area is basically a bar, and it's not the kind of bar where 4 guys come off after their tennis doubles and have a beer. It's like a bar where
it's
like
a full-on
the village the village is
public
there
house.
and it gets a little rowdy.
Good.
People are kind of pulling back the pints, but it kind of leads to a good atmosphere.
That's great.
And yeah, they got a lot going on there.
I think Tony has told me before he was working the bar, and
Oh, is that right?
someone pulled him in and said, "Play this game." And now he's working in the United States as a court tennis professional. Like,
30-40.
you honestly
lead,
don't know what's going to happen to you in this game.
I think he seems to be the master of all trades here. He was telling me earlier he was building furniture for the pro shop. I think you guys in Boston are very lucky to have him. He's happy to turn his hand to almost anything. You mentioned some coding earlier.
Yes, we knew we were lucky to get him, but it's turned out far better than we ever imagined. 5-2 now. Chicago's gonna. Oh, there we go. That's the kind of defense we need.
He's still stepping into that ball pretty nicely there.
15 love.
Oh, a good-natured ribbing right there.
That's a good get.
The way you guys play those tambour shots, I just marvel at. I think my lack of depth perception and my generally uncoordinated play just makes me feel like just never ever. Oh my! Look at that! Come on!
Oh wow!
Look at that! Come on!
Yeah, James definitely makes it look easier than most.
Yeah, I guess being a lefty off the tambour doesn't hurt, but I don't know.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I think so much of it is just when you do have that timbre, is trying to make a decision. It's quite easy to end up in like a no man's land where you're trying to cover, the straight timbre, the main wall timbre. You're sort of thinking, oh, maybe if it misses, I could still get it, and you're out of position for all of the options.
Yep.
And especially in doubles where you've got two guys, when you're the guy returning serve, you're committing to that timbre every time. Anytime it goes near it, you're assuming it's going to hit. You're getting in position. So it sort of takes out some of that uncertainty that definitely happens in singles. But you're definitely right in saying that James is really good there. That's a nice way to win that.
30-40.
Absolutely. Chicago's looking for 3-5 instead of 6-2. Uh-oh.
And game, 6 games to 2.
6-2 it'll be. Reminder, we're playing to 8 games. 8-game pro set in the doubles.
Yeah, I think the rule is if you're down by 3, you're allowed to switch.
You are playing that.
I don't think these guys are. I'm not sure these guys are either aware of it or maybe they think that they can just kind of chip away and.
15 love.
Maybe they think the change is a sign of weakness.
Maybe.
You never know.
What is the Einstein quote? Madness or doing the same thing time and time again and expecting a different result is a sign of madness.
15 love.
Yep.
But maybe these guys have got a plan in mind.
Let's hope we see it soon. Oh.
Ooh, almost had it.
30 love.
And we've got Peter Cipriano on the stream as well.
15-30. 2015 tennis club champion in New York.
just had some shoulder surgery, so he's going to be out for just a little bit, but we think he's going to come back even stronger. And Peter and James had a number of good wins in the rackets doubles tour, including the British Open, I think back in 2017.
Yeah.
And yeah, Peter's one of the Bathurst players for the US, so we hope he gets back in shape for that one, which I think is going to be next year. I think it's been rescheduled.
40-15 to the receivers. Chase is the last gallery.
Just now we have
Looks like New York is running away with this.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be looking to mess around here. I mean, I'm sure Barney's looking to get off court as quickly as he can, kind of assess that. I think it might be a knee he's struggling with. Assess that, you know,
This is a tough thing
get
about
back for tomorrow.
Yep. This is a tough thing about this format. If you're here to play for 5 days and something goes wrong in the first day or two, you are in bad shape. I wonder how everybody's going to be by Sunday. This is intense play.
It is.
Especially the singles. I mean, the running on this concrete floor is just. It is just so brutal. I can't think of a sport with a more unforgiving surface or series of surfaces.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a couple of guys who've perhaps come into this week, you know, maybe nursing some niggles as well. So it's never great when you start off, you know, nursing something. But I think the team that does end up winning this event is probably going to be the team that manages those injuries best and manages their bodies best. You know, Steve unfortunately obviously isn't involved in this match today because you know, he's having some trouble with his ankle. You know, I think he's going to be back later in the week, but you know, it's going to be a big deciding factor in some of these matches.
Here we go, 7-2. Chicago is doing its absolute best to put in the effort.
That's a good put away. Those always look easier than they, from the dead on than they are up at the net there.
I mentioned yesterday in the morning matches there were so many of those shots, doubles and singles. You think, oh, geez, I'm up here. I have to do something really tremendous with this, but just trying to. You think like you're gonna hit a boast or something sometimes, and you end up putting it right on your opponent's racket without even realizing it.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is especially if you're playing singles, you're stranded.
Hazard chase is worse than the door. Hazard worse than the door.
Oh, nice shot from
30-40.
Dodgson right there, not quite.
He had the pace on it.
30-40.
That's a good volley from Barney.
Yep.
If I were him, I'd be moving out of the way a little bit more. Let James do the work.
He said that was his strategy. Sometimes we don't follow through.
You know, James likes to take over anyway. But yeah, these guys will be keen to Yeah,
How long is
keen to close out this game.
Yeah, how long has James been in New York? Long time, right?
I think it's been
30-40 chases
12
the
or
last
13 years
gallery.
Oh
now.
my gosh.
Yeah. So he's been there a long while.
Where did he? Was he a club pro?
I don't think he was. I think he
Before that?
he'd been in Cheltenham, the school.
Yep, that's where he learned rackets, right?
Where he learned rackets. After that, he spent a little bit of time on the squash pro tour,
Right.
living in Belgium,
Game 3 games
and then I
to
think he
7.
came from Belgium to the racket club. So yeah, he's been there a long while now. I think there's a lot of guys who, play at the club who've only ever known, James to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But he's great to have around. With the rackets. He's obviously a fantastic court tennis player, and his background in squash, and squash doubles as well. He's perfect, and
He's probably the best all-rounder in America right now, right?
yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, he and his partner won a couple of squash doubles events last year before the lockdown.
Who does he play squash doubles with?
50
He's had a couple of different partners last year. Who was with the Scottish guy Greg MacArthur, who
Okay.
works up at Sleepy Hollow, sort of upstate New York. And this year, assuming the tournaments get scheduled, because obviously they're kind of operating on some of the same restrictions as us. I believe he's going to be playing with a new partner, but it's definitely it's great for the club to have someone who's involved in all the sports, bringing guys from the tennis onto the rackets court, and from the tennis court to the squash court.
Yep.
I think that's the kind of dynamic that all these clubs really benefit from. I think it's good for the health of all of our games.
Well, double squash. That looks like a very fun game. I have not had the opportunity to play yet, but I know that those courts seem to be in very short supply, and there are only a couple clubs here in Boston that have a doubles court, and if you want to play doubles, that's it. That's where you have to be.
Yeah. I think we've got match ball here. Connor doing a good job of fending that off.
Chicago is really finding its footing now. I hope it's not too late for them.
Oh,
Come on,
Advantage receivers.
a little bit lucky from Barney.
match ball again. Match ball again.
Gets here. Good cut.
Great dial in right there.
Haven't seen a lot of those cut shots today in this doubles match. It's been more of the high velocity stuff, but
Yep.
it is nice to see someone try and cut the ball once in a while.
Set ball again. Oh, here comes Chicago.
4 games to 7.
4 games to 7.
Yeah, hung him well there.
Yep.
I feel like Connor's kind of just finding his feet. Like we mentioned at the start, it's been a long while since we've seen him out on the on the doubles court, especially in competitive action. So
Last
I
gallery.
think I just heard Barney say to James, "Get me off this court. I need an ice bath."
Barney might well have to do it himself here. He's got the return. He's more than capable of putting 4 balls away here. think that's the one big miss at the Boston club though. Since I've been coming here, there's no hot tub. That was always the highlight of the men's locker room.
Yes, the hot tub. There, I know there was something from the Boston Public Health Commission, I think, that required
Too diseased?
No, that there required there be a certified pool supervisor or something like that on the premises because of that, because it qualified as a pool under this law that was passed because of a really terrible tragedy of a little girl drowning in I believe in a public pool, and it was because they let people swim in it and it was cloudy and they couldn't see the bottom of the pool, and so you needed this certified pool supervisor, and basically it was, I guess, unfeasible for the club to get somebody certified and then be here at all times that
just in case someone wanted to dip.
In case somebody drowned in the hot tub. I mean, I actually thought it was worth appealing, but
30 love to the service.
I think the
First
folks
chase
who
is the
wanted
last gallery.
more sinks and a heated floor went out.
30 love, last gallery.
At least we still have the steam and sauna. Nothing quite like the steam in New York. I feel like I'm in some sort of a Russian mob movie or something.
I think it got redone.
Eastern Promises. Great knife scene in that movie.
I can't say I've seen that one, but
Thank you.
Brutal.
Yeah.
15-30.
I can't confirm whether that was filmed at the Racket Club, but yeah, that it actually got redone a couple of years back, and
At the R&T?
Yeah.
Oh.
I heard that the new settings are even more powerful. So
Oh no.
you can if you can last 10 minutes in there, you're doing pretty good. But certainly it seems like from when we get the Rackets crew over, that still seems to be the go-to hangover curer. You're going to get a load of those guys pile in.
Poor Barney still seems to be
40-30.
Yeah, they
nursing
just
a bit of an injury.
just
Here
brought
we
up
go.
another match point though. So
Match ball again. Is that a broken string right there?
it didn't sound good, did it? It made it over. Barney won't care at this moment.
Oh. There's that Seacourt growl on the other side.
Yeah, these guys are getting fired up. A little fist pump.
Advantage service.
Another match
That
point.
was unfortunate.
Yeah, galleries are wide open as well.
How many match points have we had? This might be number 5.
There we go.
Match. 8 games to 4.
All right.
Well, that leaves it pretty well poised, this last match.
Yes.
1-1.
Yep. This is going to be a great number 1 singles match after this. This has been Ken Fortin and my special guest, Adrian Kemp, coming to you from the Boston Tennis and Racket Club. We'll see you in a few minutes for the singles.